Logan Thompson and special teams shine in Chicago in a 4-1 VGK win last night. The Islanders will be visiting T-Mobile on Saturday night. Guess what? Tail end of a back-to-back. So fixed, so rigged. And we have our WT. Oh my goodness, he's got a scarf on. We have a WTF feature today. It's What the Friday Time right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cordasco along with Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Locked On Golden Knights. You could find us on Twitter at Locked On VGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G, and of course our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. It's a great holiday present on YouTube. Just go to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, leave some comments. Love it all.
It's a present for the people to see our ugly mugs this early in the morning, or what?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so bring us up to speed on this scarf here. USA. They give you one as a media gift? Is that a media gift?
No, definitely not a media gift. It, kind of for me, but not necessarily. So my good friends who sit behind me, Kevin Christie and T-Mobile, they sent me a text, or they saw me walking by, first of all. So we said hi downstairs at the USA Canada game last night. And I got a text, I got a scarf for you. And so I go down and I say hello to him during the warm-ups and stuff. And the scarf was a response to you wearing the scarf. So they watch the show all the time. And so they got me a scarf to counter your fashion. So there we go. So thank you.
We're going to be trendsetters. Everyone's going to have scarves now all over the place. Tell us a little bit about the game. Let's jump into that last night.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
I had some magic last night with the Kessels, right? Give me some
It
props,
was,
please.
It was all about family and siblings and family representing last night. So you have Amanda Kessel opens the scoring for Team USA last night. And right as it's happening, I got Steve Marsh, I believe, to my right, big, great AHL reporter and does all the VGK as well. Been a lot of fun just sitting next to him. And he picks up his phone and says, wait, Phil Kessel just scored. Like the notification just popped up that Kessel had scored. So we think the real-time scoring between Amanda and Phil Kessel was less than 60 seconds last night. It was pretty remarkable. I mean, just thinking about those two players, two huge stages, and, brother and sister. And it was absolutely remarkable. And I was able to ask Amanda about it after the game. And her biggest concern was whose goal was better, because she hadn't had a chance to see it yet. It was kind of funny. So it was a media scrum after the game for each player. It wasn't like a more of a traditional post game, just kind of jump in and get your questions. And I'm still the new guy around, so I try and tread carefully, but I'm getting a little more aggressive in my ways. So Amanda comes out and it's kind of quiet for a second. So I jump right in. I go right after, hey, anyone told you the news yet? And then that's when the conversation started. And then afterwards, all the other media people like, oh, you got to it first. I'm like, you guys had your chance.
Yeah, that's great though.
But no, it was so Amanda
locks of the night.
Yeah, no, that was good,
man.
Tony. So Amanda and Phil both score. And then you have Hillary Knight, I believe. Last name is Knight for Team USA scores.
Yeah,
so
Hillary Knight.
We get a Knight and a Kessel scoring in Vegas. How cool is that? And then Sarah Nurse, and she was actually wonderful to speak to Team Canada. She actually scores the winning goal, and her cousin, Darnell Nurse, plays for the Edmonton Oilers. So we got to hit on that a little bit as well. And the interviews with Amanda and Sarah are both on our YouTube. They're a little bit longer, so I had to put it on YouTube and then link it down to our Twitter. And then I also had a Coach Wroblewski for Team USA. We actually had about a 5-minute up and back pretty much. And he was just a gem to talk to. Learn about a little bit about the perspective and how competitive he's taking these games. So I felt practice was competitive on Wednesday when I was there, and that they were really, pushing hard to win that game. And he led us into the fact that it's more about getting the players ready and learning their process, because obviously these are exhibition games. They mean nothing in the grand scheme of things besides, promotion and everything, which isn't meaning nothing, but I just mean as far as like medal chasing and a world championship, this is simply practice, call it what it is. And coach alluded to the fact that it's about preparing the players for, there's 9 new players in the system. They have to learn the system. We hear all about that. And so I asked about the balance of competing versus learning. And it was a lot of fun. I'll get that up on our YouTube later today, and I'll link it out when we have it. A lot of fun last night. Great crowd, very, very good crowd, very engaged crowd, and just a lot of fun, a real special night. All the players were an absolute gem to talk to and interact with. Shout out to the Team USA staff for taking care of us and making sure we had all the knowledge and tools we needed to have a good time last night.
Awesome. Yeah, we're delaying the process, if you will, about talking about last night's game because, quite honestly, there was really not much to see here. Riley Smith
or commercials.
We'll get into that too. Riley Smith, a couple of goals, one shorthanded, the other one the empty netter, but he earned the empty netter because he had to skate past a defender and all that. Let's talk about the impact of Riley Smith on his team, who oftentimes, I believe, goes unnoticed with this team. He really does. He's like an unsung hero, I believe, with the VGK, and he just keeps producing every night. He's up to 14 goals now on the season.
We talked about him a number of times, and Riley Smith, if it wasn't for that celebrity softball game that he puts together, he'd be completely unnoticed. But that's not a bad thing. He is a much more business first mentality, it seems like. You're not going to see a whole lot of him in the media scrums. You're not going to get that crazy sound bite out of him. And he goes to work, he does his job, and he does it pretty good. He does it really well. And that's the biggest thing about Riley Smith. He shows up, he works hard, and he produces. And I'm curious, I'll look when you start chatting in a second, I'm curious where he stands as far as career points goes, as far as like his personal single season records. That's what I was trying to get to. It seems like he is scoring more, and that power kill from day one. I mean, I know you got your perspectives about William Karlsson at times, but there is no denying that Riley Smith and William Karlsson are absolutely fantastic penalty killers together when they are on the ice. Karlsson gets a mini breakaway, gets it to Riley Smith. Riley Smith in one time shorty, and then, like you said, the empty net at the end of the game. But there is something special when they are out there on the kill. And Cassidy actually talked about that before the game. I watched his media availability, and he said they like to be aggressive on the kill and stuff, and earned a shorty last night.
The blokes from over across the pond gave me a hard time because I say Bournemouth, like, some guy from the
Is that how you're supposed to say it, or what is it?
I think it's Bournemouth. Yeah, it's like one syllable. Okay. Yeah, just not
someone's got to tell us how this works.
Yeah, we're getting there. A lot of puck watching for Chicago. The first goal, well, first of all, that Karlsson pass, cross ice on the shorty there, the goal by Riley Smith. Everyone is over on the left side, and then Karlsson gets wide open Smith.
Yeah, we saw that happened.
It was so bad.
The Philly game, right? Was it the Philly game that happened too?
It was and then the other goal, the first goal, the Chandler Stevenson goal, everyone goes to the left, and then Chandler's just standing there on the right side. This team's throwing games.
It's the system.
Throwing games, man. It's the system. Chicago did try to dirty up this game last night. They started to hit VGK at times, and Chicago, God love them, the Chicago team, broadcast team, was just trying to incite, a fight or a riot there. But Paul Cotter got knocked senseless. It was one of those.
I haven't seen that. Let me see if I can get it.
It was one of those hits like Ryan Reeves had the other night. It was the hit by Jared Tenorti. Jared Tenorti, I don't know if you knew this or not, he played in the game last night with 75 stitches in his chin.
That's it?
He got hit with a skate to the chin, and he came back and played the next night.
So what? He's a hockey player. That's not exciting. He's a hockey player, Tony.
But he started smashing.
He's not LeBron
everyone.
James, who gets carried off the court because he has a hangnail.
Right. But he just started smashing everyone. So that was really insane. And then, there was the goal scored by Kessel. That all began with a nice hard check and a finish by McNabb, who, we were just talking about the other day about his value to this team at times. And the only goal was the Taylor Radish goal in the third period when Chicago had quite a push going. And I thought for a while, and again, LT saves the day, with some spectacular saves in the game. But that third period too, very, very odd because there were no media breaks. I kept going, I'm going to get up and get something else to drink. And I just watching and watching. And I was like, wow, this is fast moving. And then they mentioned it on the broadcast, on the Chicago broadcast. They're like, we haven't had any breaks. They just kept skating. There were no face-offs, I don't think. There were no icing calls.
Beer league.
There
It's
were
my
no
kind of game right
penalties.
there. That's my kind of wave off every icing, wave off every offside. It's
But there
late.
weren't
You
even,
want to
it
get
wasn't
out of
even
there.
close. It
Wave it
wasn't
off.
even
Wave it
close.
off. Wave everything.
It wasn't even close.
They used to have waving Wendell Kim in Chicago as the Cubs third base coach, and they would joke that he waves everyone coming around second base, doesn't matter the situation. So maybe that's what the refs were doing. They had maybe like a 10-15 flight to catch. They had to jump on the blue line to get back to O'Hare or something like that.
No, I think VGK wanted to get out because it's rigged.
Fair enough. Riley Smith, though, looking up some stats. So Riley Smith was one of the players that I believe we highlighted when we were talking about ways VGK needed to replace scoring. Max Pacioretty and Evgeny Dadonov gone. That's an average of 50 goals a year in their recent spots of their career. Dadonov was a 20-goal scorer multiple times. Pacioretty, you can slate for 30 goals, depending, health pending. So the area of opportunity when those two were gone was 50 goals. And Riley Smith was one of the players that we highlighted. And Riley Smith right now, 32 games played. He's 14-8. So more goals than assists, that's odd by itself. That stands out to me. Most other seasons in his career, not necessarily a 2-1 margin, but 22-38, 19-34. One season he goes 27-27. But point being is he is on pace for a career high in goals. His career high in goals was 19-20 with the VGK, 71 games played, 27 goals. Right now we're at 32 games played and 14 goals. Health obviously pending. He should be a 30-goal scorer this year, and we'll see where the assists line up. Going back to the Paul Cotter hit, I did just catch that while you were chatting a little bit ago, and yeah, you're right, and it's the same thing. Keep your head up. It doesn't matter if you're a Mites, a Squirts, a 14 AA tournament player where the checking starts, at least here in Nevada, or in high school and anything else. You got to keep your head up. And Paul Cotter was skating recklessly into traffic with his head down, and he learned a lesson, and it's unfortunate. And upper body, obviously, I say obvious, like I know I don't, but shoulder. Feels like your shoulder or concussion.
They said shoulder, I think, while it was happening.
Okay, good. Well, good, maybe not good. I don't know. But hopefully nothing's broken. Hopefully nothing's sprained. Hopefully we'll see him.
Yeah,
he didn't come back.
Did
not come back, which is a concern. That's what Cassidy's alluded to in his presser last night. So, more opportunity for Team Henderson to showcase. And we were talking about this last night, actually, me and Steven. So we were talking about the last time him and I actually covered an AHL game together, and it was unfortunately when the Silver Knights lost 7-0. Right now, I think they are either 4-0-1 or 5-0-1 in their last 6 games. So the Silver Knights
stay away.
Right, go. Exactly. The Silver Knights are starting to figure things out down there. But you look at what's happening. We were talking about Coach Viveros and his passion for that team, and now we're starting to see the fruits of his success, because all the Silver Knights, recent and on this roster now, I say recent, like Paul Cotter, Logan Thompson, and then other people stepping up right now. Miramanov, he gets on the board again last night's. That he should got credit for that Kessel goal. Kessel barely touched that thing, but that's okay. But shout out to Viveros and how he has the Silver Knights playing extremely well last night, minus so many of their reinforcements. And major shout out to the contributions we're getting at the national level from players from last year's roster and this year's roster stepping up. So our depth is being tested right now, and as long as we play road games, we'll be fun.
Carlson and Marchessault each had 2 assists. Oh, here's a strange number for you. Chicago now, they trailed 1-0 in that first period of play. They are now, Chris, they've got a -32 goal differential in the first period. That's not even possible.
I mean, listen, they got the memo. They were around 500 for a while. Everyone's like, hey, these guys ain't so bad. They got some new names down there, and maybe they're going to be able to tread water for a while. And then, someone said, I don't know if it's Rocky Wirtz or who it was, but hey guys, this isn't necessarily the plan this year. We traded some of our talent away for that Connor Bedard dude. So we gotta fix this. And they have successfully fixed things, as they're one of the the bottom teams in the NHL right now. And it's painful for me to see. Obviously, my second allegiance is still always going to be for the Blackhawks, and I'm still just dying to make it back home for a game. It's been way, way, way too long since I got to experience. I hope y'all listened to me last night, by the way. I hope you were on the broadcast early and got to experience the national anthem. Jim Cornelius, absolutely phenomenal. I was at an establishment where the sound wasn't on, but I know they showed it on the broadcast, and that gave me goosebumps watching that again. And so much fun. I love when they're showing Chicago and stuff, and saw the MJ statue outside before the game and everything. And it's if you ever go to Chicago, folks, go to the United Center, catch a game, amazing experience. And also, it'll kind of show you what a more traditional setting is like. We don't have an organ here in Las Vegas, although they tried. They tried for a little while.
When?
They did. Season 2. It was either season 2 or season 3 for the first, I want to say, 7 or 8 games.
I don't remember that.
I gave
a
What the Friday for it, honestly. I did a What the Friday for it once.
We'll get into that. Well, no, we could get back into that later, but I was watching last night. I love the traditional organ, and they did a good
Frank
job of
Pellicano, unless he retired it. It's Frank Pellicano. He's been doing that forever. I don't know if it's still him. I want to look it up. I'm curious.
Okay, but they blended the DJ and the organ, and we could get into WTF later. But yeah, that was like a pretty cool environment there. Coming up next, we've got the Islanders visiting the Fortress on Saturday night, tail end of a stinking back-to-back. We'll get into that. Locked On Golden Knights.
They're still going to lose. Who cares?
If you are hanging out with some of your friends and putting back a few drinks, if you become a few too many, as the evening comes to an end and people start to head out, you think of calling for a ride. Nah, you just live right down the street. You live nearby. You can make it home okay. It is really no big deal. What are the odds that you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what is the worst that could happen to you? Could you perhaps cause an accident? Could something bad happen? What could the worst thing that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, you kill someone. Okay, so everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk, and the results are tragic, especially now around the holiday time. Please be careful out there. I don't want to play dodgeball with all these cars late at night. This is why police officers are out there currently. They are right now looking for impaired drivers everywhere on our roads. They want to save lives. So if you think that you're okay to drive after a few drinks, then think again. Please play it safe. Plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. And we appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Now go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe and make that your first view of the day. Weekend plans for Chris and family. Islander game?
Yeah, definitely the Islander game. I don't think we're doing Henderson tonight or tomorrow. It's just too much. We got some friends coming over tonight, and then tomorrow the kids have plans in the afternoon, which is a godsend. I don't want to do the doubleheaders are tough. Like the first time I did one of the doubleheaders, okay, this is cool, right? But it was also going from Orleans to T-Mobile, right down Tropicana, or take one of the back ways, which is actually better, so you can get in the New York garage or Aria garage. That wasn't too bad. For whatever reason, the Golden Knights thought it'd be a great idea to schedule a doubleheader on Black Friday, if you remember that. Who doesn't love driving from Henderson at 2:30 in the afternoon to T-Mobile to catch a 3:00 game? Like didn't understand, or 4:00, whatever time it was when they played Anaheim. And my son actually got sick at that game, unfortunately. Now I think about it, but probably too many M&Ms. And we actually, I got in trouble by the wife. We did McDonald's for breakfast, just biscuits and pancakes, no big deal. And then we did McDonald's for lunch. I got in trouble for that one. It's probably why my son got sick. But again, who doesn't love driving across, from Henderson to the Strip that fast? And then at least Saturday's game, it's on a Saturday afternoon where traffic won't be as bad. Although you got the bowl game early Saturday morning, right?
11:30 kickoff. Yeah, 11:30.
So that's
tune in if you're in Las Vegas or anywhere on the globe, on the planet, during the pregame show. We'll be on from 10 to 11:30 KXNT radio here, 8:40 a.m. in Las Vegas and everywhere around the globe on the Odyssey app.
Nice. That'd be a good time. I've only caught a UNLV football game there. I haven't caught any big bowl games or even a Raiders game yet. One of these days I'll I'll make it over there for one of those. But
I got the Raiders on Sunday too, back to back. I'm going back to back.
You're taking my what the Friday there, but I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
I just kind of hit me there, but as far as hockey, the only hockey thing is this Saturday we're doing the Islanders, and then I'm going to try and cover Mondays and Wednesdays VGK games next week as well. Buffalo Monday, Arizona Wednesday.
Yeah, Monday's going to be a fun affair.
Yeah, definitely. And I like Arizona. I hope I'm by the TV announcers again. Those guys were great. The Arizona people. We were kind of having fun during the breaks and stuff like that. So hopefully I can see those gentlemen again. And it'll be a fun week of hockey. Then St. Louis on Friday next week. And then VGK doesn't come back home until New Year's Eve, where again, reverse retro jerseys, and it'll be a party on the strip Saturday morning. It'll be great.
Okay, so we've got the Islanders calling on Saturday night. They come to T-Mobile.
Hey, where's
Arena.
Gil? Shout out to Gil.
Yeah, so Gil did actually. He gave me an injury update on Twitter.
Okay.
Gil Martin, our good friend,
with, he's awesome.
The Islanders. He's the best. And the Islanders play in that tough Metropolitan Division. They're 9 points currently behind the Devils. Lane Lambert is the new coach. He was the associate head coach under Barry Trotz. They're just trying to figure out some things. One of the key players, Matt Barzal, took a long time to get started. He has just 3 goals, but he also has 27 assists, and they want him to score more. But I mean, he's doing it, as a team player. So I think he started off very slow and might have had his first goal sometime in November. The power play is something that they've been focusing a lot on. They have scored 7 of the last 10 games, but they're 0-6 the last 2 games are the Islanders. Let's talk about this team. Again, tail end of a back-to-back. They play in Arizona tonight. And then, come on, though. You have to – this is kind of foul that they just keep the scheduling.
But VGK they're not getting full travel days either, though. They're not getting the days off when they travel and stuff. Like VGK plays in Chicago on Thursday. They travel. They're either left last night or this morning. But point being is there's not that extra day built in there. So, I mean, the schedule is starting to even out a little bit more. Would you rather get someone on the back-to-back or have that travel day? Obviously, I think I'll take the back-to-back. Don't get me wrong one bit, but it's starting to even out a little bit.
It's not, because VGK plays just 8 back-to-backs this season, and most teams have 12 and 14 back-to-backs. Come on, man.
Okay, no, that's a fair. I can't overcome fair. That.
Okay, Gil Martin gave us an injury update for the game on Saturday night. He said that their day-to-day, Kyle Palmieri and Anthony Bolivier, they're on the road with the team and expected perhaps to play one or both, maybe tonight in the game in Arizona. So they're important pieces to this team, especially Palmieri on the power play. He's very important for the Islanders.
Of course, no doubt. Just kind of going up and down, looking at points and stuff. Barzal's got, 3 goals, 27 assists for Barzal. So definitely a slow start scoring, as Gil said. Brock Nelson's got 30 points right now. Goaltenders, you got Sorokin and Varlamov. Varlamov, someone we were talking about a long time, possibly coming here and replacing Leonard and that whole situation. And I mean, thankfully, we didn't have to get Varlamov in his salary because things obviously are working with Logan as a starter, and Aiden Hill seems to be turning a bit of a corner as far as his last couple of starts go. So hopefully, we got a Saturday game. Is this where Logan Thompson finally gets the Saturday starts? I would assume so. You never know. Going up and back, looking at some of the maybe younger players here that I see. Clutterbuck's only got 5, Bolivier 11. So I mean, not a lot of pardon me. Not a lot of other people. Zach Parise is still in the league. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
14 points. He is all over the place, right? He for the love of the game, I guess, right? For the love of the game. Standings watch, I believe they were second place in the insert sponsor name Metro. Tony, who's the sponsor? Do we have a sponsor for the Metro?
Visa.
Discover card? I don't know.
It was Discover
Visa.
Card.
Name a random credit card. Overall in the league, as my son would like to quiz me, 13th overall. And I think in the division, they were second in the Metro. So, I mean, if you can get a top 2 spot in the Metro when the dust settles, that's a pretty good showing, because that Metro is always going to be extremely Oh no, they're 5th overall in the Metro. I'm sorry. What did I see earlier? Maybe in the wild card there. That's why I saw their wild card too. I thought I read them as being second. Okay, so they're they're hanging out and they're going to try and turn things on, obviously. And this is the spot where Boston went to Arizona, and then they come to Vegas. In this case, you have a back-to-back scenario, but Boston was in Arizona on that Friday, last Friday, I believe, a week ago from tonight's. And they dropped the game against Arizona because they're looking ahead to Vegas. Now, obviously, the Islanders don't have the same. They're not circling Vegas on the calendar, besides the fact that it's Vegas. So I don't know if you have a trap game scenario tonight for the Islanders, but tomorrow's game might be muddy, right? You're going to have the Islanders who they'll probably have, pardon me, they'll have an early push. That's what always happens on these back-to-backs. And then fatigue sets in. VGK is, I hate to say it any other way, hot garbage at home, unfortunately, right now. Hopefully that changes, and that could make for a very interesting first period and game overall.
Last season was really rough for the Islanders. They had to start on the road because they were still building their arena, and then they had several bouts with COVID, and so they're finally, hopefully, just getting in some sort of a routine and a rhythm there. I did want to clarify something. I am the only person that is against Vegas Bjorn. Okay, so someone, our guy, Gold Team Dad said, as I said, never seen anybody root against a VGK player more than Locked On VGK. No, it's me. Okay, I'm accountable.
You almost got the snot bubble there. That was close. That was close.
That's what we're here for. Coming up next, the much anticipated the Friday and snot bubbles and much more right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate everyone tuning in, making us your first listen each and every day. Check out Locked On Sports. That's available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. So it is that time. It is that time for What the Friday. Do you want to go first?
No, you got something queued up. You go right ahead. You got it queued up.
I mean, so this is a big week there in the UK, of course. This is a big week in the UK. And
how do you wear these things during a show? I'm hot. I'm so hot. It's too warm right now.
So a big week in the UK. And one of the quotes that stood out, my good friend, jolly old Lewis Combs of the BBC, who I've become, we've become friends, buddies.
Mates?
Mates.
There. Is that Australian?
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so no, it is mate. We say, all right,
okay.
Good day. Sort of good day, mate. No, it's cheerio, mate. Okay. Bill Foley, in one of these clips, he tells Lewis Combs that he is a dictator. He says, I'm a dictator. I run the show. This is my show. He goes, there is nothing more limited than a limited partner with Bill Foley. He said that he runs the show, the dictator. I need to be the captain of the ship. WTF. WTF. This is how he runs his organizations. WTF. He's the captain of the ship. I like that. That's pretty cool. WTF, though. A dictator. Why would you say that? Those people are running scared. They're running scared in the UK.
Sometimes you guys send a message.
Okay. So that's it. WTF.
I'll start a WTF for everything was great last night, but I wish there would have been more local exposure to the game. We didn't have any of our traditional PA announcers running the game, and maybe there's a traveling group that does this. We didn't get any of our local anthem singers, and the person that did the anthems last night might have missed a word or two in there. But I was really hoping to see Golden Pipes. I don't know. It would have been nice to see. You had one of our in arena, Jen, one of the in arena hosts, but she wasn't that vocal. We couldn't even get the goal horn last night's. And, for Steve Carp, I was so hoping we would got the town crier last night to call one of those goals. I was so hoping we would have had the town crier last night.
Is
That
that
would
the
have been
one
awesome.
person that despises the town crier more
No,
than me?
he told me how much he loves the town crier. Steve Carp absolutely loves the town crier. Not as much as you do, Tony, but I cannot show you the text we exchanged last night, folks. We get in a lot of trouble for that. But point being is I would have liked to see a little more local flavor at the game last night. It was nice. It was a great time, but at least give us the goal horn, right? At least give us the Silver Knights goal horn for both teams, not just USA. He had a piped in horn and stuff like that. So there was some vanilla as far as the production goes. So I think a little polite what the Friday for the USA Canadian rivalry series for not giving a little more local flavor for the Knights organization.
Okay, I can't find some of the WTFs on our stream there because there's a lot of USA hockey stuff on there. But I know someone had pointed out about how annoying it is that we get blacked out on all of our games here in Southern Nevada. And so you know what annoys me? So like on ESPN Plus, like we not only get blacked out of the VGK feed, but the visiting team feed as well. So we should not get blacked out of the visiting team feed. WTF, I agree with everyone out there. It's so frustrating to be able to find a game sometime on ESPN Plus.
I mean, I'll tread carefully in my wording, but we've cut the cord here as a family when it comes to that sort of thing, and it's easier to find games now. And fair foul or otherwise, so be it. But stuff like that is what maybe drives people to do that. So Cox, NHL, ESPN, you guys figure it all out, but you're all costing each other money and probably limiting your upside as a company in general. So, I get it. And it's unfortunate. You see it every night on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, people trying to find the games. And so I definitely get it. 2 weeks in a row, Raiders, I think, are going to make my What the Friday. I mean, friggin' Baker Mayfield almost ends their season. Call it what it is, right? Baker Mayfield just ends their season, which who had that on their Raiders bingo card on ways to screw up a football season. And then now they get flexed out of a game. Like, the Raiders here, it's such a Raiders thing right now. It's unfortunate because okay, I got another What the Friday. I'll come back to that in a second here, but it's just such a Raiders thing right now, and you hope the Raiders can figure this out. I mean, they got some talent right now, but as far as their future goes, like, is Josh Jacobs not even going to be a Raider next year? He's going to get paid somewhere else, and Derek Carr might not be the quarterback to take the Raiders to the promised land, unfortunately. So hopefully, better days are ahead. But What the Friday for the Raiders and Baker Mayfield just crushing their hopes and dreams and putting them on the daytime instead of on the national feed for Sunday night.
Oh yeah, no. So that flex of the Raider game screwed up a lot of things, including the Las Vegas Bowl. So the Las Vegas Bowl was set for prime time on Saturday at 4:30, the kickoff. And then when they flexed the game, because they still, for some ungodly reason, don't know how to switch off the tray, bring that tray in of grass over the AstroTurf. It's supposed to take just 12 hours, and they can't get it straight. It takes 16, 20, 22, 20, 24 hours. And in any event, now I've got to go to a bowl game at 11:30 in the morning, okay? Las Vegas Bowl kicks off at 11:30 on Saturday, and the Raiders play that stinking game on Sunday
Baker
at
Mayfield
1:05.
Screwed it all up. That's so awesome.
Oh, man.
So
It really
awesome.
Okay.
You got another one?
Yeah, WTF.
Okay, I got one more, so save me a second, but keep going.
Okay, WTF. Gary Bettman said this week that the NHL has no interest in expanding the playoff field. Every other major sport, Chris, every other major sport has expanded its playoff field. If you think about things, NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball. And the league, at 24 teams, had 16 teams eligible. Now they are at 32 teams, and they still have the 16. And he said, no, there's no way that we're going to expand the field here for the playoffs, which I don't understand because it's more revenue, right? And then again, this is no wonder this league is number 4. No wonder.
Number 5, more 5 to MLS.
Okay, number
6
5
to NASCAR.
now. Okay, more TV money, right? More fan exposure, more tickets sold, everything. It makes sense. Only makes sense for the NHL to expand the playoffs. I don't know to how many, but WTF, expand the stinking NHL playoffs.
So real fast, we just saw this report come out, and Tony, you put it out there about how much money Allegiant Stadium makes. Going back to 2017, 2018, we have the Golden Knights. We know how much money they make. Trust me, I see it as I just got my season ticket renewal coming up pretty soon. And we have WNBA. We have now an AHL team. We have the Aviators doing much better since they moved. We have a soccer team. You have all these sports teams. We have record-breaking revenue on the strip up and down for gambling wins, and not just gambling wins, but F&B and these resort fees and all this nonsense that we're just gouging the tourists on right now. Yet our education system is still garbage. I can't say it any other way. And I want to just do some report to see where the education system was in 2017, 18 before we had all these sports coming here, and where it is now. Like, where's all the marijuana money? Where's all this money going here? And why can we not get more money towards the Clark County School District and education in general when there's so much more money than there was in this town, just 5, 6, 7 short years ago? What the Friday, Nevada.
Okay, so I went to those stadium authority meetings. I attended most of those. And during one of those sessions, they were talking about money earmarked for education from the hotel room tax here in Las Vegas. And one of the committee members who got booted off like shortly thereafter just started blurting out, well, the money that was intended to go to the schools, we actually just took it and put it into infrastructure. Like, you don't just take money, right, that's earmarked for, again, education here. And this is why it's screwed up. It's because of the politicians. The money's there. Take more money out of the room taxes. Who cares? Because it's not affecting you or I. That's how we built this stadium here that people were opposed to, and it's got nothing to do. There was more money out of the hotel room taxes, Chris, that was earmarked especially for education here, and they just took it, and there was no accountability. Max Pacioretty, there was no accountability to say that money should not just be switched off. They just took it, and it never made the news, never made headlines, nothing.
We'll save our predictions and stuff. We'll do those online throughout the day or tomorrow before the game. But, this is just part of it. But you have teachers burnt out. You have them leaving the industry. And, I see this at home. I see this all over. Teachers, it's so tough right now. And, they don't get the support, yet all this money is coming into the city. And so that's a whole nother show for another time. Get us out of here, Tony. It's been a week.
All right. Scarves up. That's all we could say. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Kradaska. We thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. Back on Monday, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Have a great one.